I just turned 21 and my high school sweetheart ended the relationship with me. I got dumped. And when I say I got dumped, she didn't even dump me. She kind of made me say that we should take a break. You know, in hindsight, I think she was trying to avoid accountability, but I was such a massive pussy that I let her. So I was alone and I was heartbroken. And obviously I cried loads. I don't think I'd cried in years prior to that point, but a lot of fears about myself came true that day, I guess. That I'm unlovable, that this was a fluke, on and on. And I regressed in my room, and believe me, I played a lot of fucking video games, smoked a lot of weed, and just tried to numb the pain out. And a housemate I lived with, I was in university accommodation at the time, a housemate that I lived with was a star, and he kept trying to get me out. And eventually I said yes. He had this super cute friend. She was really nice and funny and interesting and extremely confident. Way more than me. And I had a big crush on her. I remember every opportunity I kind of had in the conversation to look at her, sometimes I'd just catch myself just gazing at her, and then she'd catch me and I'd look away and break eye contact. I remember this one time when she was trying to come into our block where me and my housemate lived, and so she's knocked on the door and I've been the only one in. So I went there and I was in my underpants because I don't know who was there. I just chill in my underpants all day. And, you know, she goes, you know, is our mutual friend in? And I go, oh, no, you know, he's not in at the moment. And then she goes, oh. And she doesn't break eye contact with me. She's looking at me this whole time. And then she goes, what are you up to tonight? And I'm like, oh, nothing. And I'm just staring. I go, so I'll let our friend know you called. I'll tell him to message you. See ya. And I just shut the door in her face. And then I remember standing. So I'm here. She's probably a meter away from me, but there's just a closed door between us. And then I'm saying in my head, like, just open the door, ask her how she is. Like, go on, like, the moment's not past. Open the door. And I just fucking waited, and then I heard the lift coming. So, and then yeah, I'm assuming she got inside the lift. I remember I came back to my room and locked the door. For some reason, that just made me feel safer. And I went straight back to my chair and pressed play on the YouTube video I was watching. Some bullshit fucking change my mind video or some trash content on one of the screens I was using, and I jumped straight into League of Legends on my other one, and I started trying to block out the pain of that cringe. You know when you have something that you know is so reliable at drowning out your thoughts? I don't know what it is for you guys. It doesn't immediately work. So when I've sat down and jumped into queue, it's not like my mind's just forgotten what happened like 2 minutes prior. I'm sat down, just acting like nothing's happening, and I remember feeling like there was another version of me stood right next to me, being like, why the fuck are you not doing this? Like, fucking come on, like, this is your opportunity, bro. You're just letting it pass. You've been dumped, you know, you have another opportunity, do something. And I'm just in my chair, like just trying to ignore those thoughts, trying to ignore that completely. And then after about 5 minutes or so, I'm just engrossed in the game, and that's why I play video games so much. It's so effective. Eventually, I'll just get distracted. Yeah, I remember feeling like a fucking little pussy, and I had an opportunity and I didn't take it. And then another opportunity came around where my friend asked me on a night out, and I knew she was going to be there, so I said yes. I wanted to do something differently this time. I was going to be James Bond. I was going to be smooth. I was going to make it happen. I wasn't going to let that fucking closed door ruin my chances again. And I remember, so we link up in one of the rooms and we're pre-drinking and having fun and laughing. And I remember I was quite drunk before we got to the club. we rock up to the club and we go get drinks and we're having a good time. And then I remember at one point, I see her from across the dance floor and I'm thinking, this is it. Come on, bro. Don't let this happen again. Go over. And I was drunk, so I was a bit more confident. So I walked over. I'm like, hey, how you doing? How's your night going? She's like, good. And then we're just chatting about the night out and random shit happened. So we're just having fun about that. And then I remember after maybe a minute of conversation, she gets closer to me. There's a normal distance when you're speaking to a friend. And then when you get closer, it starts to get more intense. And I start to feel way more uncomfortable. And she had her eyes locked on me like a hawk. And then she moves in even closer. So where our faces are quite close at this point. And then she brings her drink up. And then to my mouth, almost saying take a drink. And I'm I look at her and then she goes, and I'm like, okay. So I take a sip. And then this is where I fucked up. This girl was so confident. I didn't need to do anything extra. I didn't need to be someone I wasn't. I didn't need to be some smooth James Bond character. I just needed to be me. She liked me. And my dumbass decided to drop a cool line, which I thought of. So I take a sip of the drink, and then I try and look her back in the eyes, and I go, you trying to get me drunk? And then she just... And I expected that to catch her off guard. I was so out of my comfort zone. I thought that was a nasty line that would knock her off guard and I could sort of gain some control back over the situation. She keeps her eyes locked straight on me and goes, yeah. And I just broke. She just completely smelled the bluff and it didn't faze her one bit. And I was so shaken. I felt I was so overextended because I wasn't being myself that I didn't know what to say after that. I didn't have anything else planned for what happens after she responds to that. I was hoping that she would get flustered. And instead I got flustered because she just came back with the truth. And I just was like, oh. And then I handed her back her drink and then I went, oh, I'm going to go to the bar and get my own drink. See ya. And I left. And then, I've gone and got another drink and I try and redose up with liquid courage. And I'm trying my best to flirt with her throughout the rest of the night. But the moment had passed. I ruined it. I definitely ruined it. She just wasn't interested at all. And fair enough. I fucked that up. I was just so fake that I'd put her off. What's the lesson here? This is what I ask myself. This is 5 years ago. And I'm trying to what I'm trying to do these days is recount these experiences which I've lived in and learn something from them. What was happening in my mind that caused that? What can I do differently to sort of give myself more control over where my life goes? This is what I think, which I'm only realizing in hindsight. I was clueless. I didn't know how to talk to girls. I didn't know how to flirt, not really. I definitely didn't know how to flirt with confident girls. I'd had experience being romantic in relationships. I had a relationship for about 3 years. But when starting a romantic interaction from scratch, I was clueless. I didn't know what to do. And I was acting like I did. So whenever the situation came to it, I panicked because I knew the truth. I knew the truth. And when you knew the truth, you're gonna try your best to hide it, but it's not gonna work. It didn't work for me, never worked for me. And this situation, I guess, was so obvious that a few months after that moment, another different friend invited me to a night out, and it was a work night out, and he was interested in this girl, and he wanted people to come join so he could obviously chat to her. And she had a friend, so I went along, and it was some cute, small, mixed race girl. She was the type of girl that was into astrology and tarot cards and shit like that, but which I really didn't like, but I was into her. And I remember the flirting that I did that day. I wasn't even trying to flirt. I just was talking honestly about my life and myself. I was still trying to be funny, but I wasn't ever attempting to lie about my confidence with girls. Eventually, at the end of the night out, me and my mate both go back to their house, their student accommodation where they were living. And we're just sat down talking, and it's all four of us. And, you know, my friend and his girl are just talking and like making out and kissing. And I'm just talking with this girl. And in the past, whenever a girl would speak about relationships, how long you've been single, how many people you slept with, I'd lie. I lied, and I said I'd slept with 10 people, and I hadn't. And just because I was so sick of having to act like something I wasn't, I was truthful on this day. So I told her, I've slept with 2 people. And I felt nervous saying it because I felt like that made me look like I was inexperienced. I was inexperienced. I had experience with relationships, and this is what I said to her. I said I'd come out of a long-term relationship, so I haven't really had a chance to sleep with many people. You know, I remember when I told her how many people I slept with, she couldn't believe it. She kept calling me a liar and saying like no, and I was like, no, like I'm coming across as confident now because I'm being truthful to you. So you're sensing the authenticity, I guess. But I don't know how to pick up girls, and I'm a relationship guy. I thought for so long confidence was me being smooth, like a pickup artist. In that moment, confidence was me admitting that I'd only slept with 2 people and I don't know how to pick up girls. And she loved it. You know, I remember at one point she just led me up the stairs, you know, we went to her room and, you know, we slept together. I saw her for like another few months. At the time, I didn't end up pursuing things, even though she really liked me, because I don't think I was actually over my ex. You know, but progress doesn't look like just being the perfect person suddenly. This is just one lesson I learned, which helped me, I guess, navigate dating and romance. Yeah.